Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back to Banner and Backbone's Anti-Fascist Book Club as we start a new book and begin a new discussion. I'm Nick Perro, here, co-founder at Banner and Backbone, joined by my good friend Tara Devlin from Tara
Hello.
Buster. Tara, before we get into our book today, before we get into everything, how are you? How's it
All
going?
right.
It's been a little while
It's
since
been a
we've been on.
while. That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Are you sound a little hoarse. Is your voice
I've been
okay?
I've been under the weather this week, and so I haven't had as many shows this week. I've taken a lot of it off.
Mhm.
We had family in town last week. My daughter was sick, and
Oh, there
now
you go.
everybody's recovering from it. Um,
Right.
yeah, so I
Right.
took some time to actually do the right thing and
Yes.
feel better,
You gotta.
and
You
not push
gotta.
myself too hard. So
Mhm.
welcome back, everyone. And we had a
Yes.
bunch of Fridays off.
Yes.
How have things been over the last few weeks before we get into our discussion here?
Uh
So,
for me personally,
yeah, for you.
that's a little stressed out, that's all. Just stressed and thinking about, I mean, I'm just frustrated about the situation, about the
Hmm.
country, about and how hard it is for everyone in general to live and be an American. It's very stressful. I can't stress that enough. I can't stress how stressful it is being an American. People who I have friends who live in other countries, they don't, they can appreciate it, but they don't have the same kind of stressors that we have as Americans, where we worry about doctor's bills or getting sick and no safety net, things like that. And it's only going to get worse. It's only gotten worse. Reading this book is it's kind of traumatic too, I have to say, because we're going back in time. It's going
Hmm.
to the first Trump maladministration, and where everything started, all the dominoes started to fall. And now that we're here, I would really love Masha Gessen to write a update for our current situation, because it's only gotten worse. But reading this is also infuriating, I have to say, because there's so many corners and forks in the road where we could have made different decisions, and where you know
And didn't.
mm-hmm. And the
Yes.
mainstream media, she goes into that. One of the things, I mean, I don't want to really go get ahead of ourselves here, but it's a great book, and I think everybody should read it, of course, especially if you're coming to our book club here. But it is a little, it's depressing. It's very depressing, because all of this was a choice. So,
Yes.
yeah.
All of this was a choice.
Hmm.
Um, and that's part of the problem is all of this was a choice. And I think the saying is true that America will exhaust all other after America
Hmm.
exhausts all other options, it'll do the right thing.
Yes.
Um, and we're really pushing that exhausting all other options
Yeah.
part of it um, before we do the right thing. And I'm hopeful still that Americans are going to do the right thing because a lot of
Yeah.
people are seeing it. A lot of people are waking up. Whether it took gas prices to wake you up or not, fine. If you're awake now and you're seeing it, good.
Hmm.
That's what I care about right now.
It's
We'll
true.
get back to your problems and we'll fix those. But let's first get rid of this guy
Yeah.
and the entire regime
Hmm.
because we should have done it the first time. We
Yeah.
should have never let him be in office the first time
That's
because he
right.
cheated to get there. He has been held criminally liable
That's right.
for cheating to get into office the
That's
first
right.
time.
Yep. That's right. We
So,
can't forget that. We have it on tape too. Oh, and the first, I'm talking about the insurrection. I'm getting ahead of
yeah.
ourselves
And
here.
then we have the insurrection
Yeah.
at the end of the first criminal regime.
Yes.
And then he ran a shadow government or put together a shadow government during the 4 years of Biden. And I know this isn't specifically in the book yet, and I haven't gotten that far in the book, so that may not be the right starting point anyway. But there are some really good quotes here in the beginning of this book. So welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Anti-Fascist Book Club. I'm Nick Parrow with Tara Devlin. The Anti-Fascist Book Club is modeled off of the Veterans Fighting Fascism Anti-Fascist Book Club guide. If you want, there's a QR code right up there over my head. You can go scan that QR code. That will bring you to the guidebook to start your own Anti-Fascist Book Club guide. So what it is, we're a group of folks who come together and have a book club. And we talk about books that we're reading. They're all geared towards learning and teaching us what anti-fascism is, what it is not, and how we actively participate in it, and how we actively stand up and go on offense for democracy and against authoritarianism and fascism. And so that's what it is. This is just this is us learning in real time, passing that knowledge on to you guys and getting your feedback while we go. Getting your feedback on that knowledge while we go, which is really important. And so welcome everyone. I see you on Substack. Thanks for joining us. It's good to be back here with you guys on Substack, on YouTube, on Twitch, on all the platforms that we're streaming on. Thanks for being here with us, everyone. Today, we are starting Surviving Autocracy by Masha Gessen. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start our book. We're going to get into it. There's some really good pieces in these first couple chapters. Welcome to part one. We're going to break it down over a couple weeks. This will probably be at least 4 to 6 weeks of talking, because that's how we normally do them, is between 4 and 8 weeks per book, depending on how long it is. So we'll see how long it takes us to go through this one. There's a lot of books out there that we can read that are helpful to this moment. And so Surviving Autocracy is one of them. So Tara,
yes,
are there any really, out of the first couple chapters, let's say up through chapter, I don't know, where did I stop at? I've stopped at chapter 4. I have not read through chapter 4 yet.
Okay. I'm farther along. It's kind
You're
of
further along.
It's a short book. It really is. It's not that long.
It's not a terribly hard read to get through. And I just haven't had a ton of time to read.
Right.
But I'm up to chapter 4, and there's been some really good parts through it. And I want to hear your thoughts on maybe the beginning of the book, and are there any key points or key quotes that you wanted to pull out or talk about from there? Because there's a few I could talk about, but I want to get your thoughts.
Yeah. Well, Masha Gessen is it's the first few chapters is really like an analysis of Trump and what we're up against. They talk about Trump as a hollow figurehead that grasped the system, turning money into power. I'm just reading a quote here, and power into money. But until Trump came along, did it politely. So Trump, the disruptor, with him, the corruption is right out in the open. But some people found that refreshing. We needed a disruptor. We needed someone to come in and shake things up. But Trump is not he's not in government for altruism. This is not about altruism, whatever his cover story is. And that's what I hear from maggots all the time, too. They think, oh, Trump gave up his amazing billionaire lifestyle to save America. From what? And there's many. And one of the things that Masha Gessen talks about is that he's turned in the beginning, in the first maladministration. And that's what we're saying. Like, this book focuses on the first maladministration. And that's why it's so heartbreaking, because recognizing in hindsight everything that we should have done, how Mueller didn't save us, the Kavanaugh hearings, or the debacle of those, of the Kavanaugh hearings, how he was shoved onto the court, how I don't know if you're up to that part yet too. I'm kind of the whole thing because I've read what chapter am I up to here? I'm into the second part two. So the normalization is almost
Hmm.
unavoidable. So yeah, I mean it's she goes they I'm sorry I keep saying she but they introduces she see I there I go again. They introduce the concept of the Trumpian lie or the power lie. How not
Yeah.
it's not and how the lie is baked in to an authoritarian takeover and there's a whole scene where uh, uh, what's her name, Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Oh, my
Uh,
governor. What a
yeah,
lovely
yeah.
individual.
How
Bless her heart.
yes, how she had the pressers, how the lies they had to have an immediate an emergency presser because the truth might have gotten out there unless they had this emergency presser. So they had to,
Hmm.
yeah. So how the whole thing is a performance, and the systems are being brought to heel. That's what I'm reading. The press. One of the things that Gessen talks about is how journalism is now a view from nowhere. Okay, where the journalists don't have they're expected they've been beaten into submission and expected to have absolutely no opinion about anything, and this is what we see, and that's part of the problem. That's why the corporate media has failed us, I believe, 100%. That's why we're in this boat, because they've been beaten into submission and
Hmm.
they report the lie like stenographers. And Trump, his as Gessen writes, I can say what I want when I want when I want to, and the bullying, the wearing down the institutions,
Hmm.
the just whittling away at it through bullying, and the institutions themselves just go, falling by the wayside and becoming supplicant to this thing, even though I mean he should be in jail right now. He should be in prison. But and
So,
I yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
building on that, like, I want to read I want to read one of the quotes that's actually from one of our probably many of our favorite presidents of recent time is President Obama. Like, he did
Mm-hmm.
a lot of good, and no, he did not do all good. Um, Sorry, and in fact, I think this moment in history that I'll read, it's when the transitional moment for him is I'm going to read Obama's acknowledgement about significant differences with Trump, but
Oh,
that he had on a
right.
phone conversation before transitioning power. And I think it's one of the biggest lies that has been ever told about an individual. And I think Obama did it to try and take the high road,
Yes. Yeah. There you go.
because we always tried to take the high road.
Uh,
And
no. Mm-hmm.
what should have happened in that moment, and we can look back and say hindsight is 2020.
Yeah.
Um, but what should have happened in that moment was Obama should have called out the actual crimes that had been
Yes.
committed, and they should have said it, because they were anti-constitutional crimes that were being committed to subvert the election and gain power. And that's what happened in
Yep.
what was it, 2016, when he won.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we let it happen. The Democratic Party let it happen.
Yes.
And then after he got out of office, they let it happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And because they were afraid to use their, like, constitutional powers and actually
That's
wield
right.
powers. And
Right.
Obama didn't use the bully pulpit, the presidential power of the bully pulpit, to actually say what was needed to be said to the American people at that time. And
Yes.
instead, this is what was said after the phone call that Obama had with Trump, acknowledging that they had significant differences, but that he was reassured. So here's the
Oh,
quote: "We all want what's best for this
oh
country.
God.
That's what I heard in Mr. Trump's remarks last night. That's what I heard when I spoke to him directly. And I was heartened by that. That's what the country needs: a sense of unity, a sense of inclusion, a respect for our institutions, our way of life, rule of law, and respect for each other. Obama finished on an optimistic note. Quote, "The point, though, is that we all go forward with a presumption of good faith in our fellow citizens, because that presumption of good faith is
Oh God.
essential to a vibrant and functioning democracy. That's how this country has moved forward for 240 years. It's how we've pushed boundaries and promoted freedom around the world. That's how we've explained the rights of our founding to reach out. Sorry. That's how we've explained the rights of our founding to reach all of our citizens. It's how we have come this far, and that's why I'm confident that this incredible journey we're on as Americans will go on."
Oh geez.
End quote on that. I think
Yeah.
that was one of the biggest lies
Yeah.
in American history. And I fucking look back on that now and I go, Obama made the biggest mistake of all time,
Yeah.
was he did not call it out. They took the high road. And I think they did it partially to preserve the institution of the
Yeah.
office, or the image of the presidential office, which I don't know where we got such high regard for the image of the president. Like, they're
Right.
a fucking person, and we've had terrible, terrible presidents go out there and do terrible things and good things. Like, the image of the presidency is just a made up thing. It's a vanity project, and Donald Trump made us, and we all got, not Donald Trump, but the systems around it made it so that we wanted to revere the president rather than call them out.
That's right.
And presidents are fallible. We should have been able to call them out at every single step of the way. And Obama should have done it too as president. That was his duty, to protect the Constitution.
Well.
Was his duty to have done that. And he lied to us. And I can't forgive Obama for that moment. Looking back on it, it doesn't erase all the good things he does, but I cannot forgive him for that moment.
Yeah.
Or the Democratic Party for that moment as a whole, not just
Uh-huh.
Obama. I'm not calling Obama out. Well, I am calling him out because he had the presidential powers. But I think part of it was too was the Democratic Party was afraid to look like they were racist against white people.
Yes. Yes.
Because they would have been calling out the KKK platform.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's what Donald Trump represents, is the KKK platform. He is an extension of the old Confederacy.
That's right.
Like, that's what this is. This is an old Confederacy being brought back. The South will rise again, is what they said, is the old Confederacy will come back as the new Confederacy. And they needed a Confederate president, and that's what they get in Donald Trump. And we needed to call that out in clear American language. And we keep using the wrong fucking terms to describe these people. Yes, they are Nazi-like. They're Confederates.
Yeah, they can't help it. In every
They can't help it. They want the slavery.
That's who they are.
We need to
Fundamentally.
talk about it in American terms. We need to stop talking about it in World War II terms.
You're
We
right.
cannot talk about it in Russian terms. We cannot be using terms like oligarchs. And yeah,
Right,
that's like maybe a pretentious thing for me to say, and a bit like maybe even controversial. They're not oligarchs. They're robber barons.
You're
Use
right.
our own words.
You're right. You're
Use the American terminology, because the American people will think about it more.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we have to talk about them as Confederates. They are establishing
They're
a new
traitors.
Confederacy.
They're fucking traitors.
They're traitors. This president is a new Confederate president.
He's a traitor.
And it should have been called out a long time ago.
Yeah.
And he came into office and he told us that the first time around too.
Right.
And this is where, like, it's really interesting reading this book, because I like the second chapter, and I get what you mean. Like, I'm not as far as you, but I get what you mean, where I'm so frustrated because I'm like, I can replace all of what's being said in this book right now with everything that's going on right now too.
Yeah.
Like, he just repeated it again. He did rinse and repeat, and he's just doing it faster and more aggressively.
He's just a one-trick pony. This is all he has. He's a fucking fascist.
He is. And this is where, like, the idea of, I like that Gessen calls out the idea of waiting for the Reichstag fire.
Right. Yeah.
Because we need to stop talking about waiting for a Reichstag fire.
It's here. We've had
It's
one.
here. We've gone
Mhm.
through
Yeah.
multiple versions of it. It's just like the singularity. If you're a tech person, approaching the singularity is
Mm.
not a single event, it is a chain
Yeah.
of events that leads to an end result.
They're right.
Donald Trump and the Republican Party, the regressive right, and I like that Gessen calls it out as regressive,
Yes,
and that's what
absolutely.
they're doing is regressing. I'm so glad that that is a word choice that Gessen used because fuck, it is so important that we call it out as regression. That's what
Yeah.
they're doing. They are regressing our civilization. They were regressing our rights. They were
Yep.
regressing our
They
freedom.
certainly
They
are.
are regressing our liberties. They are regressing our access to services. They are regressing for citizens while they are taking for the robber barons. This is what the Confederacy was doing.
Mhm.
It
That's
is
right.
about a form of slavery. This
Yeah.
is slavery that they want to bring back. They want to
It's
bring back a
serfdom.
feudalistic
Yeah.
system
That's it.
of robber barons with those of us who are serfs.
Serfs.
They've
Serfs and
said it
lords.
out.
It
Freedom cities. They've
Yep.
talked about this
I
shit.
know.
That's why they're
It's
buying
so
up
fucked
all
up.
these farms for corporate farms. That's why
That's
they're
right.
getting rid of all the migrant labor and they're building these detention centers
Right.
in farmland and
Amazing.
open areas
Right.
so that you, as a person who is detained, an American who, say, is a US veteran and is swept up off the street because homeless people and disabled people get left in the dust all the time. Hey, Naida, welcome. I love you. And yes, these people don't have any morals. Is they're building this shit in and I bet you it would line up. And I haven't looked at the map, but I bet you if we looked at where they're building a lot of the detention facilities, it lines up with mega farms
Mm.
that are
Mhm.
being and land for mega farms and open areas that they can begin making us do unpaid labor
Yeah.
and work on farms. They want resegregation, but it's not about
That's
color specific for who these segregated people are. It is you are white Puritan in this fucking Christo-fascist themology, or you're
Mhm.
not.
Right.
It's not black versus white. It's not. It's not white versus
It's never
Asian.
been.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's
It's
always
Mhm.
just about white supremacy against everyone else. It
Right.
is the eugenics model. We need to be talking more about eugenics. And like, I like that,
Mm.
like, the Gessen talks about like the picks for the old or the first regime's cabinet and how it
Mhm. Mhm.
parallels exactly with what's going on and how we need to be talking about RFK as a eugenicist.
Yes.
And we need to be
Well,
using the right words.
yeah.
And I like that Gessen is doing that. What do you think about? I
Well,
know I rambled there for a
no,
bit, but
no,
what do
it's
you think?
great. It's great. I hear you 100%. But I just to go back to a little bit to Obama's, this is what has allowed the fascism to get so entrenched. It's the presumption of good faith that the Democrats have given these fascists, given Trump against all evidence to the contrary, his entire life of crime. He's been a con man since the beginning. That's how they should have continuously hammered home. And to say, oh, we all have this good faith in America. Trump not only hates America, he's confused by America. That's why they go after immigrants in a nation of immigrants. You see, then they
Mhm.
turn the immigrant into the enemy. How can a nation of immigrants be at war with immigrants? But
Because it's
that's
always been a nation of white immigrants
right.
at
But this
war
is
with
what
other immigrants.
they tickle those racist funny bones and they get people to, just like back in the Bacon's Rebellion 1600s, where they turned the indentured servants against the enslaved. Because the Bacon's Rebellion, the indentured servants and slaves, enslaved people got together and they rose up against the lords. They said, oh shit, we can't let this happen. So they started to separate the, that's really when race-based slavery became entrenched in the new world. And it was because they gave the indentured servants a little bit more privilege, just a little. And
Hmm.
they told them your enemy is the people who are lower on the ladder. So they
Always
wouldn't,
is.
yeah, and we've been under the same tyranny for hundreds of of years, and that's what gets me about maggots, because they're all conspiratorial, but they don't see the oldest conspiracy unfolding right in front of their faces. It's really pathological, but that's because of the racism. It blinds them. But this disconnect that allows Trump's autocratic aspirations to succeed, that's what it is. That's what the naivete of the
Hmm.
Democratic Party and the institutions to say, because, but this has been something that we've heard on the corporate media. I remember watching Morning Joe all the time. I used to watch it a lot. And Joe Scarborough would say, "Oh, the institutions are holding. The institutions are holding." And then when Trump was kicked out of office and Biden won, he would see the institutions held. Did they though? Did they?
Did they?
No,
Yeah,
they
did
didn't
they?
hold. They didn't hold because he's back, and now it's worse. They're really going for the gold here. They're going for dragging us back to the system the founders fought a revolution to escape. That's what they're doing, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's taking the corporate media a long time to even say the word fascist. So we've been talking about it for a lot longer, and but now that, I mean, podcasters are the only place where you can really get the news that's going on, because like Gessen talks about, there's no the view from nowhere. That's journalism in America today. I just, that's stuck in my head, the view from nowhere, because they're they are beaten into submission, into not having a point of view, and that's really doing us a disservice here. Like the way there's ways to report what's going on, and it's not just to report it as a stenographer for these fascists. You have to report it in context of democracy, and that's another thing Gessen talks about, how the Democratic Party too, when Hillary was and Bernie were in the primary, the Democratic Party, it became, and politics becomes about the resume, not about what your vision for government is. Why are you in government? What is the purpose of government? That's out of the conversation now. It's all about that was Hillary's whole campaign, that she was completely qualified for the role, whereas Trump gave a view. He didn't, he had no qualifications, of course, but
Hmm.
he had a vision for the kind of society he pretended to try to tell his viewers, I mean his voters,
Yeah.
to follow him, because we're making America great again, even though of course they're destroying it. And he ran on everything was a lie. They all run on populist policies, like everyone's going to get health care. That's something that Trump ran on. Oh, it's going to be the easiest deal. Everyone will get health care. It's going to be great. It's going to be free. You'll see. And of course, they try to destroy any regulation that we have protecting us from the rapacious, greed-centered insurance racket. So, and it's all a con. And
Hmm.
but the Democratic Party, it took the Democratic Party. I don't even know if they've caught up now, but because the whole when they go low, we go high, that really didn't do us any service in this country. With no, when they go low, we have to fight fire with fire here. They going low, and if you remember when she said that, oh no, what happened was later on, I can't remember who it was, but he said, I think he was the head of the Democratic Party at the time, and his name is escaping me. And he said, "When they go low, we kick them." Right? Okay, and
Yeah.
the right wingers went nuts. It was all over Fox News. Oh, the Democrats are calling for violence. When they go low, we kick them. And I was like, of course it was being reported, but well, as if going low is their prerogative. Like, when we go low, they're going to kick us. This is what they're saying. Well, why the fuck are you going low, bitch? You know, like, yeah, that's your prerogative. Go low, right? Like, what
Yeah.
do you expect? When we go low, they're saying they're going to kick us now. So don't go low, bitch. You know, right? But that's impossible. Going low is all they have. So yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the human condition. Like I when they go low, you you kick them in the balls.
Right.
Like
That's what we have to
if they're
do.
gonna if they're gonna kick you in the balls, you kick them in the balls
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. You don't
It's
say, oh,
metaphorically, so nobody can say that I'm trying to incite
yes,
violence. I
legally and peacefully,
legally and
metaphorically.
peacefully, well, peacefully and patriotically,
Yes.
and
Yes.
metaphorically kick someone in the balls with your words.
Yeah.
Like take them down a notch. And that's
Hmm.
they these folks, this is where all of this, yeah, it comes into there's no accountability for them because they have
Right.
chosen to have no accountability because
Different
the system
rules.
is actually, yeah, the system
So
is actually designed to account for that,
it
to
is.
promote white supremacy. The system is built around that. There's a lot of puritanical views that have been brought into the
Hmm.
Constitution. No, maybe the original version, the original Constitution and our Bill of Rights, those are fairly progressive focused in a lot
Hmm.
of ways. I mean, the Second Amendment is up for debate on whether that's actually really a progressive view in any way. That's pretty much a libertarian view.
Hmm.
Um, it's a blend of like libertarianism and progressivism into a constitution, and then it became very conservative or
Hmm.
regressive over, or it's being viewed that way right now.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and it's because we have put faith in institutions and to political parties rather than
Yeah.
putting our faith, and Naida, you called it out really well in the chat, is it's about people. The parties don't ever lead. We
Yes.
should not be expecting the party to lead. We should not be expecting the National Democratic Party to lead in any way because they're not leaders. They're supposed to represent. And if you want a leader, it has to come from the people. Yes, they can then go into office and be a leader there. I'm not saying there are not leaders who are elected officials right now who would be great at leading. But you cannot expect the party apparatus itself, such as like Ken Martin, and folks like that to lead in any way. They're not leaders, they're followers. They follow our directive because the highest rank in the United States, the highest rank of individual is voter. Is
Hmm.
voter. If you vote, you outrank everybody else. You outrank the president. The president works for you. The branches of government are supposed to. The system is supposed to represent the people, of, by, and for the people. Out of many, one, e pluribus unum. Like there's a lot of really good phrases and sayings that are American about our government and the way it's supposed to be a service for the people. That's what it's supposed to be able to do. Yes, it was written originally for white people only. We can expand on that. Like the Constitution actually explicitly says we should expand on that. That's why we did 10 amendments right the fuck away to give ourselves rights. Like the first thing we did was we wrote the Constitution and then amended it. And now we're like, oh my God, we can't amend the Constitution. That's because the American population, the populace, the voting populace, has been convinced that they need to follow the will of the party and not define the will of the party.
Well, it's the party. Really, the Republican Party is not in government for altruism in any
Oh,
sense.
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
going back to that original point is on the altruism side, is the government, is the Republican Party just exposed that they current in this iteration, because I mean, during the Civil War, they weren't what they are now. I
They were
can
the
look at history.
progressive
They were
party
the
in the sense.
progressive
Yeah.
party.
Yeah.
They switched. It's okay to look back in history and see where things have changed. And this iteration of the Republican Party is a is an anti-constitutional party.
Yes.
And
It's an
they're not
anti-American party.
good faith actors. They never have been. It was captured by bad faith actors who are the KKK, um, and the white nationalist policies of the neo Confederates, which became the Republican Party.
That's
The
right.
neo Confederate Party is the Republican Party. It's taken them since the Confederacy, since the loss of the Civil War, to get to where they are. They rose a Confederate flag over the U.S. Capitol
Mm-hmm.
during the insurrection after Donald Trump lost the election to Joe Biden.
Yeah. I mean, he's
That
renaming
was a
these
goal
bases.
of
Yeah.
that was
Mm-hmm.
a goal of the Confederacy, of the post-Confederacy,
It's
was
an
to
offense.
finally put the that was the first time that the
Yeah.
Confederate flag has ever been flown
It's
over the U.S.
disgusting.
Capitol.
It's the flag of losers and
They
traitors, and that's,
they are, yeah, they're losers and traitors, and they committed an insurrection, and now they're following the same pattern that other insurrectionist style authoritarians have taken over.
yes.
They're following that pattern. They are using these Reichstag fire moments. They are using the styles just like Putin did, which Putin modeled
Oh
what
yeah. Yeah.
off of what the Germans did with
Right.
the gulags and the detention centers. But a lot of that is also modeled off of U.S. history
Mm-hmm.
pre World War II. It's a lot of this is based off U.S. history where we cracked down a lot on journalists, where we had an authoritarian power grab. Yes, Abraham Lincoln did a lot of really good things. He also suspended habeas corpus. He also did some things that were very anti constitutional, authoritarian power grabs.
Well,
We are
you were in
lucky.
the middle of an
Yeah,
insurrection, and that was the exception where you could
that was the
suspend.
exception because he did it. And that's where this altruism thing, or for the good of the country, really comes back in, is because Abraham Lincoln was a good faith actor.
Yes.
He was not intending to take over the US and remain a king. He
That's
was
right.
trying to bring the US back together. He was a good faith actor. We should have, from the start, from when we started figuring out that Donald Trump had cheated the first fucking time, should have been called out as he is not a good faith actor, and he should have never been treated like a good faith actor from the beginning. We should be treating him like a Russian asset
He is.
every
Yeah.
single day.
He's a
People are
traitor.
afraid to call that out because
Now they are. Yep. Yep. Yep.
journalists are under attack. They have been since Donald Trump. That's part of this moment. Part of surviving autocracy is understanding when we got to where we are and how we get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that how we get out of it is we have to collectively say Donald Trump is a traitor. Donald Trump is a Russian asset. Do you know how we get treason like actually adjudicated in this nation? Through Congress.
Hmm.
You know how Congress is going to actually adjudicate treason and hold traitors constitutionally liable for treason? Is if the American populace goes out and screams about it. But they're not going to scream about it if we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
We have to talk about it. We have to start that conversation. The truth doesn't hurt in this one. It's an easy truth to talk about. It's just the truth can be scary when you know that if you start saying the truth, the government may come after you.
Mm-hmm.
We
Well,
have an authoritarian government that wants to round up journalists. They want to silence the media and the First Amendment and suppress our right to speak. They have done it in many ways. That's why Donald Trump attacks women all the time and goes, "Shh, quiet, piggy."
mm-hmm.
That's why he does shit like that, is to demean and degrade the institution of journalism. And these camps that they're building, they want to fill up with journalists as a message.
Of course.
They start with the journalists because then everybody stops talking. So it's on us. Oh yeah, the truth hurts to them. Yeah, it will hurt them. Absolutely. Thank you for clarifying.
This. Are you reading that? Yeah.
No,
Now.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm in Substack. I
Oh,
someone
okay. Yeah.
Someone said the truth hurts, and I misunderstood what they said.
Oh yeah, no, it's there's somebody calling themselves Truth Hurts is a maggot in one of the chats somewhere going off,
Oh,
talk about brainwashed.
AOC identified as a bartender.
Identified like it's a
She worked as a bartender. How do
well
you identify it?
well
Anyway,
that's the
we're
thing.
not going to tangent off
Yeah,
because
yeah, you're
I'm
right.
not going to let this conversation get captured by a troll because
But
that's
the
what they
thing,
want.
no, you're right. But the whole thing is, it's what it all relates, though.
Yeah.
What Obama should have said on when Trump won, despite receiving fewer votes, is that he should have been clear and honest with the American people. He should have
Hmm.
said, instead of babying the American people, he should have said Trump spent the last 18 months, the entire campaign, attacking our democratic institutions. He should have
Hmm.
said it right out loud. He refused, saying that he's going to not accept the results of the election unless he wins. He threatened. He's a threat to our core American values, the peaceful transfer of power, and we saw that play out in the insurrection. And that's what he should have said. I will ensure the peaceful transfer of power because that's who we are. That's what the Constitution demands. But make no mistake, traitor Trump is a threat to American democracy, and every person who believes in this country should resist his attacks on our norms, our institutions, our people, and not stay silent. That's what he should have said. But this has happened before. Republicans, they use treason as just another election strategy. Nixon committed treason, negotiating behind the back of the sitting president with the enemies of America so it would be advantageous to his political campaign. We have that on tape. We have Johnson calling Everett Dirksen, the leader of the Republicans, and saying, I don't want to get this into the campaign. We have him on tape. The CIA was monitoring him and
Hmm.
they had him dead to rights. And Johnson said, this is treason. And Dirksen says, I know. And why wouldn't he want to get that into the campaign? That's what he told him. He said, you better tell him to stop it because, I don't want to get this into the campaign. Why not? The American people need to know that this guy trying to become the president is a traitor. And then Reagan did the same thing, negotiating behind the back of Carter, who was trying to free the hostages. But Reagan went to the Iranians and said, just hold them, hold our fellow Americans in captivity every single fucking day. So it will be better for my campaign. And when I get into the presidency, I will give you arms. And that's what he fucking did. So they are traitors.
And so let's build on that for what happened in this past election then. Donald Trump met with Benjamin Netanyahu.
Right.
While we were all actively campaigning to force Israel to end the hostilities or the genocide in Gaza. And everyone blamed Biden and
Right.
Kamala Harris, Harris had no involvement in it, in the negotiations of it. Nobody blamed the person who sat down with Benjamin Netanyahu and said, hold off on ending this until I get into office.
That's right.
That'll help my campaign. You'll still get what you want. And guess what? That's what Netanyahu did. We saw it happen in real time. A citizen was treating without diplomatic authority with leaders of other nations.
You're right. You're right. 100%.
Multiple individuals in the Republican administration, in this current regime, all illegally treated with heads of state without diplomatic credentials or authority in any way.
Well, look at the fucking...
That is treason.
Yeah.
That is treasonous. That is treasonous activity.
Yes,
To treat with foreign leaders, to undermine the goals of the nation and to help our allies, to harm our nation and to help our ally or our enemies is treason. to harm our nation, to help our allies,
Mhm.
can also be treasonous.
Oh, yeah.
If those allies are not actively pursuing goals that are beneficial to our nation. Israel is an example. They are considered an ally. However, their goals are hurting our nation.
That's right.
And we just let it happen because we allowed a private citizen, whether they're running for office or not, until they are in office and constitutionally eligible to do those actions, they cannot treat with foreign leaders or diplomats from another nation without approval.
Mhm.
That is illegal. We can hold him accountable for those actions too, because those are treasonous. We have to talk about it though. And when I say we, I see Survivor's story in our Substack chat. I understand. We, in a lot of this, is folks like me, is folks like Tara, who have platforms, is folks like Chris Goldsmith, who's here with us. Who's here with us? He would have been here, except he's sick right now. We'll have Chris back next week. He's out sick right now. Is we spread that message? We do it. We do it. We give you guys that message because it's the truth. It's what's actually true. If you look at the Constitution, yeah, it's against the Constitution. That's why I'm saying it's treasonous.
Mhm. Yeah, no, he's
They
committed
are
treason.
acting. He
There's a
has
whole
committed treason anytime when he was out of office. Every time he treated with a foreign leader in a subversive manner to the Constitution and to the current administration's goals, if they are pro-constitutional, if they are constitutional actions, if you treat with a foreign leader when you have no authority, you can be charged with espionage. We have the Espionage Act. You can be charged with treason because if your actions are actively harming the United States, you are committing treason. If you are Peter Thiel, who has sat down with
oh, him.
Putin, is not a
I know,
registered
these
diplomat
motherfuckers, right?
or entity in any way.
Neither is
Elon Musk,
Elon Musk,
the
right?
same.
I
Many
mean,
of these leaders like that, many of these quote leaders, these tech folks, probably Mark Zuckerberg too,
mhm.
list in that. Jeff Bezos, all of them. I bet all of them have treated with foreign leaders in ways that are not considered pro-American, that are anti-constitutional. Donald Trump did it in the open, and that's where people just stop caring. It's because they see it in the open and they're like, well, he did it in the open. It must be okay. No, it's a blatant fucking lie. And that's been the big lie. That's what Putin did. That's what
Oh, yeah.
Hitler did. That's what Mussolini did. That's what all authoritarian leaders do is they create this big lie. They use these quote Reichstag fire moments, which they create chaos. They're chaos agents. They create chaos and then they capitalize on it. Donald Trump had COVID-19 as an experiment on his side because he got to experiment with how to create and control chaos.
Mm,
Guess what we now have starting to spread around the US? The hantavirus.
I know. I mean,
There's cases now in multiple states throughout the US. And guess who we have sitting in the head of HHS?
the worst
Is the worst
raccoon penis picker.
is the eugenicist RFK Jr. We have a eugenicist
Fucking sociopath.
who is sitting at the head of health and human sacrifices in the US. That's what the
Human
new department
sacrifices.
is health and human sacrifices.
I love
And
it.
that's what it's
It's
going to be.
perfect. Yeah,
That's what
perfect.
it's going to be because if you notice, the system got dismantled.
I'm gonna use that if you don't
You
mind.
should. Oh, fucking do. Please do. Please do. Everywhere you go, health and human sacrifices for a eugenicist. That's what he's doing. He
Yeah.
is a eugenicist, and they're going to capitalize on the fact that a virus is going to start spreading. Stephen Miller talked about it too. They're going to create many Reichstag, and that's why I put it in quotes if you're watching this on video and not hearing this just on audio is I'm air quoting these Reichstag fires because that's an overused term again. It's
Mm,
just they're going to create false flag events so that they can capitalize on the chaos. And part of that is going to be engineering disease outbreak in certain areas.
mm. Well, I
And
wouldn't
then
doubt it. Yeah.
they can claim if, say, they engineered a disease outbreak. Well, I wouldn't doubt it because the last time we had coronavirus, there are instances of like recorded instances of people, white people specifically, going to minority communities while sick and spreading the virus. They're
Mm,
going to do that again and then blame it on those minority communities when there are outbreaks because now there's no longer access to the right medications and health, and they're not going to release the types of medications that are needed because we have a eugenicist for the head of health and human sacrifices. And guess what? If you're not in that in club, you're part of the human sacrifices part of that.
hmm
They need to get rid of 2/3 of our nation. They've called it out. They want to get rid of 2/3 of the population in the US, and that's going to be pretty
Is
much
that their
anyone who's,
jobs plan, I suppose, right?
yeah, that's how they're going to increase, that's how they're going to decrease the job crisis,
Yeah.
is they're just going to cut
Yeah.
the workforce by 2/3.
Well, let
And they're
me,
just going to say, yep,
yeah.
that's what it is.
Well, they're just incredibly incompetent. Of course, Trump left office with 1 million corpses in his wake in the first maladministration. So this one,
Mhm.
he's really going for broke here. And
Yeah, and
yeah,
don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they created this virus in any way. That would be a conspiracy theory, is if I said that this regime created the hantavirus or manufactured the hantavirus itself. What I am saying is they are going to purposely spread and use the hantavirus as a way to capitalize and consolidate power. This is what authoritarians do. They use what is available to them. They take an event and then they blow it out of proportions. That's what the
right.
Reichstag fire was about. They killed, the Germans killed their, or had a, the house burned down and the representatives, and Hitler was like, yep, I'm now in charge. Everything's under my
Well,
control
that's
now.
what, yeah.
And the people let it happen because they were afraid,
Because
because they
it,
capitalized on that moment.
the night of the Reichstag fire, they went out and arrested 5,000 political opponents and other political parties that were running
Yes.
against them, the Social
And we've
Democrats,
had
the
test
Communists.
cases of that around the US already with the ICE facilities of targeted political arrests of mayors, of representatives, of state or local folks who, comptrollers, things like that. They've already tested that. And guess what? They're building the facilities now to
Yeah,
hold all of
they
us.
are. Yeah,
They're
they
building
are.
all those facilities, those freedom cities where you just get to sit in the cage and then go outside and enjoy your freedom during the day while you're picking whatever corn or wheat or soy or whatever product they need on the big mega farm that you are now a slave on. That's what they're going to go back to. Or you're working in the data center, or you're a slave tech worker and all you do is write code all day and you don't actually get paid to do it. You just have to do it because otherwise, guess what? You're going to go pick in the fields. And that's how they're going to do it, is you're going to get your position and they're going to tell you, you either do your job or you go out into the fields. And guess what? That's basically what they already do. But they're building a system to allow that to happen, and they're going to start arresting more people when they can.
Mm.
They're going to capitalize on every opportunity that is presented to them. They create chaos. That's why they bombed Iran. They wanted to create chaos.
Well, and a
The
distraction.
hantavirus
Hmm.
and a distraction. And the hantavirus is a good opportunity for them to capitalize on.
Yeah, and in any case, the whatever happened, they are building these concentration camps, and if you've seen the blueprints, they look eerily similar to the blueprints from Auschwitz and Dachau.
They
So
act
it's really
to
disgusting.
the one of the people, I read a while ago, one of the folks who actually designed the I think it was Alligator Alcatraz, the designer for that one, is the same person who has designed many of the concentration style camps in China.
Mm, This is gross. Yeah, but in in
And
in
so,
in the very least, the Hunter virus response, that Trump's response will be divisive and a
mhm,
way to keep, like you're saying, people under control and to tear people apart, because that's the only thing he knows how to do. And that's one of the symptoms of authoritarianism. You have to have people at each other's throats. So
and
you have to have an enemy. And as we in the campaign, he talked about it, that the enemy is it's coming from inside the house, right? The
mhm,
homegrowns. Like, fuck
they've been
yourself.
he's been advertising it very blatantly. And the hantavirus presents an opportunity that Donald Trump needs anyway, and this regime needs anyway, is something that could prevent voting. They're attacking mail-in
Oh yeah,
voting. They've
that's
been
what they,
attacking
yeah.
ballot access and mail-in access. They want to ensure that disabled folks cannot vote. They want to make sure that minority groups cannot vote. They want to make sure that it is hard for lower income folks to vote in general.
Hmm.
Anyone who is not in an easy access area, which tends to be higher income white folks who are in the easy access areas, and they make it very easy for higher income middle to higher income white folks to vote. And if you're part of that lucky group of minorities who's in that group too, you're still going to have a hard time voting because they want to make it harder for you to vote. They want to make it harder for women to vote. And then, oh no, we have a pandemic going on. We have to cancel the
Hmm.
elections
Hmm.
because we have this national pandemic going on of the hantavirus. And oh, we don't have any mask mandates, so you can't be near each other either. So we can't actually have you at the polling locations. But guess what? You can't vote by mail. And
Hmm.
if you are able to vote by mail, the mailing service doesn't really work anymore because we gutted that because we don't believe in the use of services from the government unless it's to service making rich people more money. And that's about it. That's the only philosophy of service they believe in. That's what they're going to do. Plus polling guards, ICE. They've already advertised that ICE will be at polling locations and it will be select polling locations. It will not be everywhere. They're
Well,
not going to come to my state. They're not going to come to my polling location in a really white part of Arkansas,
no, they're
but
gonna,
they are going to go to Chicago and stand outside the polling locations of black folks.
of course.
Or they're going to go and find Hispanic communities and stand outside their polling locations. Or they're going to find a disabled community and scare the shit out of disabled people. Or they're going to change your polling location out from under you and make mass
This is what they
confusion
did. Yeah,
so that you cannot vote.
that's what they've
The
been doing.
solution to that is we have to be as loud as fuck about what they're doing, continue to press the issue, because when we are loud and repetitive about it and we flood the zone, yeah, I know that was kind of a chilling like train of thought. Just that is my idea on that is a chain of events that could possibly happen from the hantavirus. They've already done it in Tennessee. They're doing it in Louisiana. They're doing it in Texas. They're doing it all over the South. They're trying to do it all over the South. They want to resegregate everything so that it is uniparty control by the Republicans on a state and federal level so that they can cancel elections and never leave power. They will
Yes.
seize on an opportunity if one presents itself. And the hantavirus is an opportunity that will present itself because they're the ones who have the lever to control whether there is a national response to support and suppress and stop the virus from spreading, or if they allow it to spread and only suppress and contain it in certain areas of the country, which they can do. If you don't believe our government can easily target communities in our nation, go ask the Native Americans what it's like to live on a fucking reservation and not have any of the treaties that you signed with a country be upheld. Go ask them what it's like to live in a semi-apartheid nation. Go ask the descendants of slaves what it is like to have the history of a person being owned in your family, and then we can talk about apartheid, and then we can talk about it because they're going to suppress the spread of it in certain areas, and they're going to increase the spread of it in others. And if you don't think the government can do that, I have a bridge to sell, or I have a boat to sell you in the middle of Nevada.
Mm.
Like, if you want to go buy a boat in the desert, I'll go find you one. You can go paddle that paddle boat through the sand all you fucking want, but you're not going to find water. And we need to address that. We need to talk about it. We need to continually talk about it so that our platforms like us, Tara, you on Tara Buster, Naida on the disability community, and others all around us, our Chris Goldsmith with On Offense, Stephanie Wilson with Freedom Over Fascism, all of us, all of you out there, everyone out there, like we just need to keep talking about it so that the discussion goes back to where we need it to be, because it will never return to where it's supposed to if we don't force it there. We have to force the pendulum back. Nobody's going to come save us but us. So go save ourselves. That's what we need to do. All right, we've hit the top of the hour. This is
Yes.
Tara. This has been such a good discussion.
Thank
You. I'm
you.
so
Yes.
glad
Thank you for
I'm so
having
glad
me.
we were back. So
Yes.
glad we were back
It's
today.
been a few
Thank
weeks.
you, everyone.
We had
It
to read
has
the
been.
book.
We had to read parts of the book. Definitely did. So Tara, let's do our normal thing.
Yes.
First, come support Banner and Backbone. This is the network where we're putting on Anti-Fascist Book Club, Palin Talk. We've got Powerful Voices where we do candidate interviews. Come support the network and help build the growth of it. Free or paid, does not matter, but the subscriptions help, the share helps. Thank you to whoever who scanned the QR code for us. We see that. That's awesome. Appreciate you. That really helps build the platform and ensure that we can get more of this out.
Yes.
And get our message out and talk to people, and get what we all need to hear on the radar. We got to flood the zone, and this will hopefully help us flood the zone. So come support Banner and Backbone, like, share, and subscribe if you can. When you're done all of this, it is free to do. Next, Tara, my friend,
Yes.
promote yourself.
Well, come and join us tonight. We have a show at 8:30 p.m. This is our Friday night get together over at youtube.com/cfchannel/Tarabuster. And thank you, Jim. I see Jim in the chat room keeping us safe over there. So come back tonight a few hours from now, and we'll be hanging out. But if you can, just support my Substack and all that. That helps keep this show and the liberal media going and growing. That's it. Thank you.
Love it. Thanks, Tara. And then if you got the chance to, come support me at Sick of This Shit Publications. We are growing, building a lot of tools, a lot of fun discussions going on over there. I'm doing a couple. I've got a couple sales. If you can't do full price, if you're willing to come on as a paid subscriber, I do offer permanent, long-term or forever discounts at either 50 or 60% off. If you can't do the full price, either way helps. Any way helps. Free is really helpful too. But like, share, and subscribe. We're doing our masculinity, our chronic illness discussions, and disability discussions, talking better humaning, and like I said, building tools. We've got some really neat stuff that is finally at like a fully testing phase and getting ready to release. And so look out for some cool updates that are going to be coming out from the broad banner side, which is slightly different than all of this.
Nice.
But Sick of This Shit Publications is where that's homed out of right now. Come help me build that. We're still growing a lot. We're doing a lot in the background, helping not just myself, but other publications. Tara's started to get into the system a little bit. We've got friends of the network who are in the system. I'm using the tools that I use for myself to help support folks like Lev Parnas, who I work alongside, which I never thought I'd say that word, or that sentence, but he's one of those folks that has done some really incredible things in the past years to right the wrongs, and he has stayed true to trying to right those wrongs. And I can see the efforts that he's putting in. And that's why I've supported the work that he's doing, which is really neat to get to see a tool that I put together help not just me, but other people too. And so come help support Sick of This Shit Publications. and our growth there. And I saw you, whoever scanned the QR code, we had at least a person scan the QR code for each one of them.
That's great.
So
Thank
thank
you.
you to the folks who did that. Really appreciate you. And to all of you who are with us, who are subscribers, who are just joining us for the first time, thanks for being here. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for being a part of this discussion. Thanks for joining the Anti-Fascist Book Club. I'm Nick Perro, here, one of the co-founders here at Banner and Backbone, joined by my friend Tara Devlin of Terra Buster and the Political Voices Network. Thank you, Political Voices Network, for allowing us to also rebroadcast on your channel as well. I see you. I appreciate that. And thank you for that support to get this message out. Tara, thank you for making that happen and helping grow this community and the Political Voices Network, and having voices that are worth listening to. We'll toot our own horns. We think we're worth listening to.
I think so too.
And we think we have a much better message that people could actually listen to and feel good about hearing and wanting to be a part of, than those on the right-wing ecosystem who are regressing, because it's the regressive right versus progressive. That's it.
We are the ones capable of functioning in a free democratic society, a multiracial liberal democracy. Republicans are trying to destroy. That's the basic bottom line. They're dragging us back to the system the founders overthrew, where the rich run and rule and everyone else awaits their rewards in heaven. That's what they're doing. Prove me wrong. I wish you would, because I don't like living in that system, but this is what we're up against. We have to be honest about it.
We do. Honesty is key here, and the more honest we are about it, the clearer-eyed we can come into it, and the better solutions we can get to actually get out of it. Because there is no way out of this except forward. Right. And we have to find that path forward. So for all of you joining us, thanks for being a part of that. Thanks for coming to this discussion. We'll be back next week for our second part of talking about Surviving Autocracy by Masha Gessen. And I'm really excited to read through this book, because it's not a difficult read. It is very illuminating. I will always include the copy and link to where you can get the book without having to go through one of the major publishers or major retailers like Amazon or Walmart. You can always get it through the publisher itself and other options. So thank you for being here with us, y'all. Let's go have a great weekend. Try and do something anti-fascist today, which is go out and talk about community. Go build your community, because that is anti-fascism. That is the start. That is the start of anti-fascism, is building your communities. So go do that this weekend. Go have some fun. Go build your community. Tara, thanks for being with me. Everyone else, everyone in the audience, thanks for being here. Appreciate y'all. Have a great weekend. Thanks. Bye.
See you later.